Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for this series at Property Vibe. I'm Josephine here. I'm your host. I hope you enjoy your cozy, cool Sunday. Today is really my great pleasure to have a very special guest, and he is also very well respected in the real estate market. And he is none other than Mr. Colin Chan, Sifu. We call him Sifu is because we regard him as the guru for the real estate. Okay, before I'm going to invite him up, probably let me share a bit about his background. Okay, Colin actually started his Colin Chan Training International since 2005, and he's been very passionate in helping the real estate agent to become successful in their business. And also many of his students who have gone through his training has become top producer in their own respective agency. And Colin also conduct trainings and advisory role for some of the most distinguished developer in Singapore, like the Far East Organization, Winside, and Fraser Centrepoint. And he also expand his training network to Malaysia, China, and other parts of the world. So before I'm going to play some of his classic videos, probably I'd like to add this disclaimer. All right. Yeah. Whatever I share over here, right, is based on my personal views and also opinion. Same to the interviewee. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Colin or myself, do feel free to post in the chat group so that we can engage as well. So now let me play his classic video. If you don't know about Colin, probably from this video you can know more about him. All right.
Those of you who have come for my other talks before, you know very clearly that success is a product of a process. I've said this before, isn't that true? Success is a product of a process. Turn to the person next to you and say, honey, success is a product of a process. Everybody. I cannot hear you one more time. Honey, success is a product of a process. As long as you follow what I teach you, as long as you do as I say, I guarantee whoever you are, regardless of your background, you will be able to eventually make a six-figure income every month. That's if you do what I ask you to do. How many of you want to be very rich? Can I see a show of hands? Let me explain to you why people somehow over time, do not believe that success is guaranteed. It is because they believe in a four-letter word that starts with a different alphabet. Alphabet L. They believe in this thing called luck. L-U-C-K. L-U-C-K. And I submit to you, the belief in luck will cause people not to believe that success is guaranteed. It's not possible to believe that success is guaranteed when you believe in luck. So the telemarketer cannot go and qualify everyone for you. And after qualify at the end of the night, how got any? Don't have. Next week, don't have. Hey, burger you! But actually, he's a good telemarketer. Don't want to waste your time and your money. So what will happen? This telemarketer will try his very best to get some result for you, even though the lead is rubbish one. The seller calls the agent. Hello, I'm thinking of selling my place. The agent, poof, beep, beep, straight at his doorstep. And then try to convince the seller to let him an exclusive. The seller only have one condition. I really want to sell. I'm thinking of upgrading. But only if you can get me the price I want. Then suddenly, the resale, I realized that, new launches is doing very well. I must be prepared to drop everything, boom! And then I start to swing buyers to the new launches. Then new launches die already, boom! Go back to my... Suddenly, HDB pick up. Even when it comes to agents, I am very, very careful with the words I use. I don't call Keith and say, Keith, what is your lowest price? Even an agent can be upset by a statement like that, a question like that. True or false, Mindy? So instead of asking for what is the lowest price, or what is your base price, I subtly ask, how much is your seller willing to let go?
Constantly, I try to be at the top 20, or if not top 10 or top 3 in Huttons, and I'm almost there every month. I make averagely $100,000 every month. Last year I make... Last year I make about $680,000. And this year, just on October, it's not even November and December yet, I didn't do extremely well, better than last year, but I used exactly what Colin said. I managed to maintain. I've made about $630,000.
Turn to the person next to you and say, honey, just do it.
Okay, so hope you guys enjoy. So now let me welcome Colin. All right. Okay. Hi, Sifu.
Hello, hi.
Yeah, nice to
Hope you
have
all can hear me well. Yes, nice to be
Yeah.
here. Yes.
So yeah, do send us a comment. Yeah, you can say hi to Sifu, Colin.
Hello,
All
everyone.
right. Yeah. So nice to have you on the show, and also welcome to Real Vibe. Okay. So it's actually thanks for taking the time to come and share with us how we can try to do to move forward during this uncertain time, but also we can have a great conversation with you, and to also to gain valuable insights that you
Right.
are going to share with us. Yeah. So as you know, right, as this pandemic, right, it has disrupt the way we live, work, and interact. All right. So like now, I find that it's much easier to connect through the social media platform and also other different channels. And there's more diversity and awareness when it comes to information. And we do not just rely one source of information. Do you agree?
Definitely. In fact, there are a lot of social media channel platform out there for people to promote themselves, market themselves. I discovered that traditionally a lot of people right now are mostly on Facebook and all that. But there's also LinkedIn, which is a very powerful media. When I experienced the lockdown, one of the first things I did was to try, instead of wallowing in the market and wondering where I will be because I'm locked down in Singapore. A lot of my businesses were actually in Malaysia, my consultative businesses, and I had to put many of them on hold because a lot of my clients, they were also very badly affected because of the lockdown in their in Malaysia. And because of that, I had to immediately ask myself, what should I do? And of course, one of the things I discovered was the lockdown was actually good business for many other sectors, like the supermarkets, like some e-commerce, and so on. So without wondering where I should spend my time, and trying to stick to a traditional business that I've known for a long time, I knew that going forward, because they say that this could last up to next year or even longer, and there could be a second or third wave, I discovered that there are certain businesses that are good for me even during the COVID pandemic. And so I started an online business, and I believe some of the real estate people have done that as well. Some of them are doing sales on Amazon. Some are doing other stuff on Shopee and so on and so forth. Myself, I got started in selling meat, which is an essential business.
Yes. Okay. So, all right. So, but you also know that this pandemic has actually changed the way we do things, right? Like
Yep,
the way we live, you know. So,
yep.
in this case, that for this new norm, right? We
Mm.
are currently in the way we view property, this kind of thing. Will there be a change in our mindset? I mean, there's a
I wouldn't.
the way
It's not just
perspective.
mindset. I
Mm,
think now, if you look at this last 1 or 2 months,
mm,
and then which is if you look at July and August, which is moving into the third quarter, you probably may have read that the second quarter was very, very bad
mm,
in terms of the market, and economically, it is very, very
mm,
bad for Singapore.
mm,
121,000 people lost their job. This is not normal. Okay,
mm, yeah.
so if 121,000 people lost their job, I am quite certain 121,000 of these people, many of them own properties. Some of them still have installments to pay, quite a number of them, and they would still be facing a massive cash flow problem at home. And
Mm,
when this happened to them, right, ultimately, eventually they have to make certain decisions that could be drastic to ensure that they have either one, money on the table, which is cash flow to be able to buy food, because food is more important than anything else. But at the same time, they probably may be forced to sell off their properties to pay off the loan, which can be a burden
mm,
to them. Okay,
mm,
but of course, up to now, many people are not feeling it thanks to the moratorium. This moratorium is letting people kind of live in a false sense of security where they don't have to immediately pay off that installment or pay off those installment is being
mm,
deferred, right? But what happens if the moratorium is lifted and these 121,000 people, part of them have these installments to pay? So I would suggest to these people, if they are concern, and there will be a lot of people. Go and Google. I advise anybody who is an audience here, go and Google Oxford. I mean, I'll be happy to share. You can touch base
mm,
with Josephine. I will be happy to
mm,
share with you a publication, a research
mm,
done by Oxford showing the number of jobs that will be lost to artificial intelligence. So on top
mm,
of the pandemic, there's going to be implementation of e-commerce as well as artificial intelligence, which will definitely have a drastic impact on many of these traditional jobs that's in the market in the past. Uh, if I'm not wrong, the number of jobs that has over 97% chance of being replaced are 100 over different traditional jobs. So you might want
mm,
to see if you are one of them, and you might want to consider yourself. Everyone who is listening in right now, I would suggest that you should look at your cash flow, because ultimately, if you don't have a healthy cash flow, you will be affected psychologically, emotionally, and it's gonna have an impact on your decision making as well. Okay,
correct.
so alternative income may be something that you want to look for as well. So
Mm,
alternative income that is generated through e-commerce, through passive income, these are things that you want to consider going forward, not just depending on one source of income and hoping that this source of income will eventually come good, when the reality is even our ministers are saying that many of these jobs will be lost completely.
okay. So, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, for this crisis, right, so-called crisis, is not a very ordinary kind of crisis that we are in. We are actually seeing is a change of the whole, like the overall economy thing. I mean the
Yes,
way
and
we do
and,
things.
and its
Yes.
impact on real estate as well.
Yeah, I mean in many industry, I may see a face off probably in the long run. Yeah.
I would say this.
Mm.
If everybody were to pay attention to the words that are being used by our government, by WHO, by IMF, by the US, be it
Sorry.
President Trump or be it anyone else, anybody who is aware of what is going on and who are reading the news, you must recognize that we are not talking about correction right now. A correction is not a term used by them. In fact, the word used by them today is the word reset. So when you hear the word reset, what do you understand by reset? When you send your iPad, right? When you use your iPad and you want to set it back to factory setting, you reset. You reset your computer, you reset your system, or you reset the economy. The word reset is to bring everything back to square one, back to the beginning, in the beginning. It's not a correction. Maybe in 1997, when the Asian financial crisis hit, that was a correction, or somewhere between a correction and a reset. Maybe somewhere in 2008, that was a correction in the real estate prices and in the economy. Some correction took place, and then they continue printing money. They continue, doing this quantitative easing, which keep printing money so that there is a lot of this liquidity in the market, and people are using it to buy stocks and all that, and they are pushing up the stock market, which gives, in fact, the stock prices gives people a false sense of euphoria right now. I tell you, this is beyond belief, because anybody who is in the market knows that many of these companies actually have a financial impact, serious financial impact due to the pandemic. And right now, if you look at the I remember maybe a week ago, only a week ago, where DBS declared, losses in terms of their profit. Yet, after declaring one of the major losses, their stock prices went up. So you see, there's this major disconnect. It's not normal, and it should not be that case. So as much as people want to think, oh, this can go on, but I know that it won't, because I hear the word that they use. They use the word reset. So what is a reset? So if you go and study, probably the best case scenario of a reset was after World War II. So after World War II, everything starts from ground zero. So you have a reset, and then you start building up all over again. I'm not saying that, or nor am I suggesting that it will be as drastic as that. I don't know. Okay, but you must remember, the word used is reset. It's not correction. Okay, so the economies are going to be reset. There's going to be the World Economic Forum are going to have a meeting, okay, to discuss this whole global reset in 2021. We're not even there yet. So we are working towards a reset. They are working towards a reset. Not me. I'm not working with them on the reset, but I'm preparing for that reset. So I hope everybody understand where I'm coming from, and prepare yourself properly.
Okay. So
And
actually,
not
you have
listen,
mentioned.
not listen to all
All
these
right.
noises on the ground. Yeah, not listening to the noises on the ground,
uh,
who 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 wants to tell their own story.
Correct.
I I I think everybody overlook this word, which is
Mm.
being used constantly. Go and Google reset, economic reset, global
Mm.
financial reset. Go and see the word reset, not correction.
Yeah, it's not a price correction now of the market. It's a total reset of the economy, totally new, right?
It's
Completely
I would say
from
my generation
zero
and the
lah, from
generation,
zero
right?
lah.
Yeah,
Start from
yeah.
zero
It's
lah.
that's
Okay.
that's the that's the meaning of
Mm.
reset.
Yeah, so I think this will affect lah, definitely the overall all the industry, everything,
Yeah.
even our airline, everything. So in terms when it comes to real estate, because I know that there's a lot of investment, they so called is a when there's a crisis, there's opportunity. So do you think that this crisis will be a opportunity that you will go in to invest? I mean, as an investor, does it really is a good opportunity to
Does it
invest during
uh,
this time?
does it look like a crisis right now? It does. It look like a crisis, but the market is
Mm,
not performing like there is a crisis. That's the strange thing,
yeah,
right? So as much as we
correct.
all know that we can feel the crisis, but we don't really see the numbers like the stock market and all that for the crisis. We can see gold prices coming up. So there's in some ways there are some people see some disconnect in the market. We talk about the crisis in the market, but yet if you read the news, you still see some of the influential people, the people in power, saying that the upcoming crisis, so we're not even in a crisis yet. So the numbers doesn't show a crisis,
Mhm.
but they are talking about the upcoming crisis, the crisis that's coming. So obviously, if they say that there's a crisis coming, we are in a crisis, but we are not seeing numbers that are reflecting this crisis. But there's going to be a real, more I would say a what they consider the impending crisis that's coming to be something massive, because it is unheard of. 121,000 people losing their job in a quarter. Why are people ignoring all these numbers? Why are people still out there saying, "Oh, things this there is opportunity in a crisis," when WHO and IMF and all that are still talking about an impending crisis? So sure, there are opportunity in a crisis, but are we there yet? Have we felt it yet? No. The moratoriums and all these special so-called government intervention are technically giving everybody a false impression, that we are in a recovery process, or people are not spending so much money, because their expenses have dropped. But then these expenses are only deferment. A lot of it are deferred expenses, which needs to come back later on. But how would that impact the real estate market? Especially, let's start with the commercial and commercial market, the industrial markets, and so on and so forth. Now, what will happen to such markets when social distancing, let's say if there's a second wave or third wave kicks in, and this actually in our own eyes, right? Our eyes look at a restaurant today when we go out there, it looks like it's packed, but actually they are still operating 30% or 50% below. Why do we think it's packed? Because they put up about 60% of their tables or 50% of their tables, and their tables are full. So we all have this perception that, oh, okay, the hotels, the restaurants are doing well. But when you speak to the restaurant owners, they can tell you that their business are severely affected. And still, there are restaurants that after the reopening, that eventually decided that it's game over, and closed down. We've read a number of such examples. But let's talk about some of this impact and the domino effect or the snowball effect. The airline industry operating at maybe 5%, 1% or 5% of its capacity or what it used to do have a massive impact on the cleaning industry, on the food preparation industry. It has a massive impact on all the retail outlets inside all the airports around the world. So imagine our Changi right now. Internally, of course, we have the jewel outside, but internally, you have all these shops right now who are vying for businesses from a 1% of travelers around the world. They might as well close down. And all these F&B outlets. And just think of all our Terminal 1, 2, and 3, okay, and 4, internally, all the shops and all the F&B being affected so severely, how is it going to affect the other businesses that provide services to such shops? So of course, F&B, you've got cleaning services, you've got laundry services. They clean the tablecloth, they clean the towels, they clean all this, and then you have all the different industries that support most of these, like stationaries and selling stationaries to them, and all the other financial services. Everything, one after another. You think about it, right? You think about that's just 4 airports in Singapore, right? But those airports have a lot of F&B outlets and a lot of shops, and all of them are severely affected.
Okay.
And of course, if you go out there, it's the same thing is happening. Even right now, officers have to practice social distancing, and otherwise there will be inspectors who will come around and check the officers, and maybe they'll get fined and penalized. So at the end of the day, I've said this before, if I'm running a business right now, I'll be thinking maybe I should get most of my staff working at home, and after a while people start to get used to this working at home thing. If most of the employers will start to renegotiate with their employees to take a lower pay, right? Because most of the time you have to do rotation and you got to work from home. Now, what will happen is many of these tenants, because commercial space are mostly rented, so most of these tenants will now go back to the landlord and say, I cannot pay this rent, and it doesn't justify me paying this rent because I only have this number of staff and my operation has been reduced. I have shrunk my operation. So many of these F&B outlets will go back to the landlord and say, hey, can you give me a discount on the rental? And of course, it must be a discount that justifies, okay, that literally justifies their cash flow. And most of these will have to, landlords will have to reduce their rent by 50%, even up to 50% or more. And now going back to the landlord, if this landlord has fully paid for that place, fine, he may probably he can do that. And right now we still have some of them still are getting some support from the government in a sense. But what if all this ends? And then what would the landlord do if they still have to pay installment on the on the loan they took for the industrial space, the commercial space, or the office space, the retail space? They will be very badly affected as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And of course, when this affects them, it affects the lifestyle, the income of the general. Everybody starts to drop. Okay, assuming it all starts to drop, unless everybody starts to become an online businessman, things may be different. Okay, but otherwise, many of these people's income will drop, and when their income drop, spending, consumer spending all over Singapore will drop, and consumer spending all over Singapore, globally, everywhere, will drop because people are concerned about their livelihood, their cash flow. They know that something is wrong with the business. Their company is trying to balance cash flow. They know that their company is trying to cut back, and because of that, they will cut back on spending, and then this will again directly impact the GDP of the economy, and the economy will shrink further. And then you can't tell me all these things not going to impact real estate.
I mean, definitely. I mean, in the figure of the GDP already show there will be a negative, right? The percentage. Yeah. So, but the thing is that there's still a lot of, activities in the real estate,
Sure.
market.
But
Yeah.
a lot of these activities are hyped up. And not only that, part of the figures you see are from genuine buyers who want to buy a home. So there are two markets. People are buying for investment and buying for home. I can say that the investment market, you should not go in now, okay? But for those people who are buying as a home, there is such a thing called pent-up demand. So maybe during the first 3 months of COVID, they tahan, January, February, March, and then April, May, June, they tahan. So the numbers drop here, and then suddenly they July comes, and it seems like, whoo, okay, you know, the market is open. Developers have reduced prices. So I think some of this pent up demand say, okay, you know, I'm saving 10% from previous price, which is also, which is good enough for me. And then they come in. So you see a effect on the pent up demand on the market. But once this pent up demand clears, you will see that the market will quieten down again.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so because I think also like in terms of the, you know, Singapore, there's also this supply glut, that means the oversupply
Yeah.
that is going on. You know, there's a pipeline. So in this case, I mean, for your view lah, I mean, if an investor would want to invest into Singapore, I mean, when there's a supply glut, would there be a so-called in terms of his how he will see about the market for real estate if let's say there's an oversupply in the market?
Well, um, personally, I look at the market right now. At least for another 6 months to a year, people won't be allowed to travel much. Okay, and that means that if you look at the people who have left Singapore and gone home, some actually also gave up their job, and some lost their job, whatever it may be. And once they got back home, they found that it is too painful and too inconvenient for them to travel back to Singapore, and so on and so forth, right? And then you also find that in a place like Singapore right now, uh, though there may be foreigners here, there is this noise on the ground that says encourage business owner to give the job to the Singaporeans first because they lost their job. So if that's the case, then the foreigners again will eventually have to leave because you know you have to give the job to the Singaporean first. You are incentivized to do that. So when they leave again, it's going to take a long time before they want to come in again because you know it's not that straightforward right now traveling. And a lot of people I know, as much as they can, and I'm looking to go back to Malaysia to get my business going, but as much as they can, some may already during this lockdown, be it back in their own country, started some online businesses or started some other things, and they probably may not look at coming back at least for another 6 months to a year. So how many of these landlords can hold on to their units vacant for the next 6 months or maybe even longer? You probably see that there are still some rentals going on in the market, but this I would say are more for people who are moving from one place locally, who are already here, moving from one place and renting another place. That's where the numbers are coming from. So when they move from one apartment to another apartment, that also means they leave another apartment vacant. It's not, you can't tell me that there are thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people flying in, taking out apartments. It's not the case. You know, you find that maybe even some of the tenants who are here, who remain here, are now taking a cheaper rental. So they are moving out from one place. You see these activities. They are moving out of one place, and they are taking an opportunity right now to move to another place with lower rent because of the current situation.
Okay, so okay, so maybe we move to the next question. All
Sure.
right. So, what do you think about the real estate industry and their policy? Because as you know, right, for people, they tend to view the real estate agent in not in a very good light. Like especially, like they always think that the agent is going after their money or take advantage of that kind of thing. So they have a very limited perception about the real estate agent, unlike other countries. So yeah, maybe you want to share. Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I don't mind saying this, I've said it many times. Uh, when the Council of Estate Agents came agency, council of estate agents came into the market, instead of making the industry more professional, I'm sorry to say this, but you know, in my personal opinion only, I felt that they took the industry backwards. Why I said that? Firstly, they start. I don't see a need for them to change the title of real estate agents to salesperson. uh,
Mm.
and 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 it makes really no sense at all. If just do a simple search, okay, just do a simple search of real estate agent around the world. They are either called property agents, they're either called property agents, they are called realtors, they are called real estate agents, they are called any of these. I think Singapore is the only place that call real estate agents salespeople. And I suspect that the part of that reason is because many of the big agencies, their focus shifted from resale, to project marketing. And when they shifted from resale to project marketing, they wanted their agents to become salespeople. And so when the council of estate agent came into the picture, my guess only, opinion, not an expert, uh, or I know for fact or certain. My guess is that many of these large companies probably influence the council of estate agents to rename real estate agents as salespeople. Why would they accept it? There were so many real estate agency leaders, bosses that consulted with the council of estate agents. Why would they allow? Why would they even agree if it is illogical to having this name change? Because they wanted their agents to be at the showroom, 7 days a week, stationed there like a retail salesperson in a department store. When that happens, the real estate agent who come into the industry starts to act like a salesperson, think like a salesperson, behave like a salesperson, because that's the title you gave to me. That's the position you gave to me. And so all they can think about is selling, 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 selling. But the real estate agent doesn't just do selling. It helps tenant look for properties to rent. It helps landlord look for tenant. It helps buyers look for property. A good real estate agent give consultative work advice to the customer, what is best for them, what is right for them, whether should they hold so many properties, whether they should liquidate or they should not liquidate some, and so on and so forth. Unlike the real estate industry, the financial industry, I was surprised that the Council of Estate Agency did not take a leaf out of the financial industry. The insurance agents that were formerly known as insurance agents were upgraded in their title to be called financial planners or financial advisors. The Singapore real estate agents were downgraded by giving them a title from property agents, from real estate agents, to salesperson.
Yeah.
So you can't blame the salesperson for behaving like a salesperson, trying to sell something to somebody and push that down somebody's throat when you give them a title like that. So unfortunately, that is a mess. You can't hashtag salesperson, because if you hashtag salesperson as a real estate agent, you will get salespeople selling vacuum cleaners and all that who sees the hashtag, because it doesn't make sense. It's because it's not. If you hashtag a real estate agent, you will find that the US, or hashtag property agent, you'll find in the US, the UK, and all over the world, there is a much bigger number of real estate people, in fact, who go by that hashtag or go by that title. Try. Ask a real estate agent in Singapore hashtag and see if their hashtag is relevant on a global perspective. Not even in a local perspective. Every salesperson will be on the hashtag.
Okay. So yeah, I think you're right in a way that's pointing up the as a salesperson, because I mean the salesperson title that they gave us is somehow very like all about sales, even though our business is a money motivated business, but
In the
we
past.
in the past
In the past.
okay.
Okay? the associations were called ASRA, Association of Singapore Real Estate Agent, or
Okay.
also suddenly I forgot. Okay, besides ASRA, and there's this. It's all about the title were correct, right? Because we took the titles from the UK and all that,
Mm.
but it just went cuckoo. I don't know why
Yeah,
you call
it changed.
a real estate agent salesperson.
Correct. And now recently they have this new thing like checklist thing. Also need we agent to do all this checking. So I think the role of a salesperson or a real estate has actually been changed lah. I mean tremendously lor. I mean
To be
in terms of
honest,
the term,
yeah,
yeah,
partly
yeah.
I feel sorry for the real estate agent. To be honest, partly I feel sorry for the real estate agent for being given this title and this term, and then and obviously that somehow that goes into their mind because unconsciously they see themselves as a salesperson. They'll act like one. They'll behave like one. Okay, but
Correct.
but you
Mm,
know, I think if the council of estate agent wanted real estate agents to be more professional, then instead of going backwards by calling them salespersons, you should move forward and teaching them about things like financial planning. Teach real estate people about cash flow for the buyers and the sellers. Teach that things about helping people to make wise decisions. Based on a person's position, that the decisions that will benefit them, not just decisions that's only about buying properties.
okay. 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 Maybe if the audience have any question, you can post in the chat group so that Colin can also answer your question. All right. So my next question is okay. So what's your view about the resale and the new launch market? As you know that for the new launch, right, the developer has always predominate this segment of the market, and they actually will have the control, usually have the control of the prices, and in order to achieve their target sales profit. Whereas for the resale in this market, right, in this segment, right, it really depends on the market behavior and the driving demand, and there's really doesn't any control of the prices, and I find there's quite a difficult way to distinguish where the real market is between the resale and the new launch market as the new launch prices keep going up. What do you see?
Mm.
Because would there be a price gap in this sense down the road?
There's always a price. There's always a price gap between something that's new and old. Obviously, you buy a new car, it costs more. An old car, it costs less. That goes without saying. And developers, I've also said this in the past. Developers obviously have the onus is on the developer to make that decision on what is the right price based on their market research, based on their understanding of the market, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, if you ask me, are new launch prices correct? I'll tell you no. They are too high, and I'll tell you why they're too high, because many of them got to take 2 or 3 years or 4 years or maybe even longer to sell about 70% of their property, and many of them, if they were to launch, if you look at their original launch, don't talk about launch and then reduce price and then relaunch and reduce price and then after that do a promotion and then down. This is a clear indication that the initial launch price was already wrong. I mean, for you to constantly have to correct downwards, and we've seen it with many, many development. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I saw this with many, many development, right? And a good example is if you were to sell if you manufacture iPhone or you manufacture a product, one of the good indication whether the product is successfully sold and the demand is strong is that if you sell iPhone, like in the past, in the year 2000 leading to 2006 and so on and so forth, and 2007 before the market went up, due to Singapore moving towards being a global city, you see people queuing up for property. So is that the correct market? Right? You see people queuing up, you see people lining up, and you see the property sold at the launch sold out. So generally, you probably realize that maybe the price is a little bit low, so you adjust upwards. So we all understand that there is this demand and supply equilibrium. So when demand and supply is equal, you probably have it sold out at the right price, comfortably, with the exact amount of buyers. That is of course not easy to estimate. And then of course you now have a situation where you know developers are launching maybe 20%, and then say that the 20% that they launch 50% so or 70% so, and we know that that does not reflect the genuine demand of the market. So if I were to make iPhones, let's say if I were to launch 2 million pieces and I only sold 200,000 pieces or 300 or 400,000 pieces, then as Apple, I probably will immediately analyze where did I go wrong, because I've got another 1.2 million pieces unsold, right? So immediately I know that something is wrong with the price or something is wrong with the demand. That means maybe there's not even this demand for that phone, and maybe there's not even maybe it's not the right price, or my design is shit. But the truth is, you know that the design for most of these new launches are not shit by the developer. So then it can be the next two things. That means if it's not shit, then maybe the market is not that big. Probably it's not that big. But then it comes to the third thing. It could be maybe the prices are too high. So if the prices are too high, obviously it will keep correcting. So tell me which developer in the last 3 years never launched and keep correcting downwards. I find that almost every new project went through that phase, launch, correct downward. Like even in Bishan, I'm trying to remember the Sky something. Launch,
Habitat.
Sky Habitat, launch, came down. Then after that came down again. So ultimately, who pays that price? The buyer, right? The buyer who bought at the launch. But again, like I said, if these people are buying for their own use, they don't care. Just like when somebody buy a brand new Mercedes, they know price will come down after they buy, right? They know that their second-hand car will drop in value. So the only thing is that the agents who sell them to these buyers just need to be honest about it. So
Okay.
back to the resale market. Resale market is generally affected by demand and supply. So when somebody advertises a property, he's only got one unit. So nobody comes to see, he adjusts downwards. Yeah, if a lot of people come and see, maybe he felt that the prices is not right. But again, now the market being so transparent, it's not difficult for the sellers to determine together with a good agent what the fair market value is. So I would say if you look at the market between new launch, just now you mentioned that new launch is the one that dominates the market. Actually, resale and new launch, a lot of times, if you look throughout a year, have about a 50%, okay, share of the market. If I'm not wrong, last year resale was higher in terms of volume, and then this year, as it started to it started to come out to 50-50 again. I will have to look at the URA data against NXD. Anybody who's watching this and you want to know where to find this data, you can go and look at NXD on the Urban Redevelopment Authority website.
Okay. So so now maybe I ask you the next question. I think this is more like a okay. So like ourselves, we are also entrepreneurs. So what does it take in order to be successful in whatever business you do?
I think it's about being open, having an open mind, not just being confined to one particular industry, and having this mentality that it's this or nothing. I have to be very blunt. The Oxford publication, which I mentioned earlier, the research showed that real estate agents' role has a 97% chance of being replaced by AI, artificial intelligence. So if I'm looking at that data, And I look at data all the time. That's why I do what I do. That's why I feel that there's time for me to move to some area, move to AI, move to online, move to e-commerce, move to selling meat, whatever it may be. It's all about being open-minded and being flexible. It's all about being able to, um, look at the market sentiments and flow with the demand and the need of that market at that point in time. So a lot of the agents don't want to be honest with themselves. Why? Because they are told by their leaders, their managers, and then their managers are told by their directors, and the directors are told by their companies, sell, 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 sell. It's still good, it's still good, it's still good, it's still good. Regardless of what the data says and what research says. So, but this is a problem. This is a problem because they're all salespeople. So I would say that if today you are a real estate agent, if anybody is a real estate agent, if anybody who has a property or have access property and you want to understand what you need to do, you want to find a good real estate agent who is more like a financial planner, who's really like able to advise you objectively based on the need of your cash flow. Okay, and if anybody today have a situation where they may think, right now 121,000 people lost their job last quarter. Trust me, none of them believe or expected this to happen to them. Everybody always want to have a positive outlook in life. I don't have a negative outlook in life. I have a realistic outlook in life. And then do what is positive to make that reality become something that helps you going forward. So I'm not here to try to destroy agents' rice bowl as some people may think I am doing. But the truth here is, I'm not. How I wish I got that power to destroy an entire industry's rice bowl. I don't have that power. Okay, right? The reality of the market is the reality of the market.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the reality
anyway,
of the market. Yeah, correct.
yes.
We
So
cannot control. So it's
I
out
can't
of our control.
control.
We have to.
So
Correct.
what I do is I tell people this is the market. But of course, a lot of people who are salespeople, they don't like to hear that. They don't want to face reality. And neither does the agency want to face reality because the real estate agency does nothing but sell property. What do you expect them to say?
Like with this,
The,
yeah, correct.
you don't expect the real estate agency to tell you, okay, guys, sell essential goods today. They don't.
But at least we know what is coming. Like for example, in this digital age, right? I mean, the like big giant tech like Amazon, all this thing,
Yeah.
they will be able to dominate the whole market very easily.
Sure.
Like
But
for
even for
example,
real estate agents, right? Okay. Of course, if you are able to adapt very quickly, let's say today, if I'm a real estate agent, I'm going to speak candidly. If today I'm a real estate agent, I would go to those clients of mine that may have too many properties in their hands, and especially those that they are still heavily leveraged, to get them to liquidate. For goodness sake, as I repeat, we are not talking about a correction here, we're talking about a reset. Please go and read the follow the news properly. Please follow the news. Please follow the news from the US, from Singapore, globally. The word used is not correction. The word used is reset. Reset. Okay? Means everything go back to square one, ground zero, and start all over again.
Okay. So
Yeah.
maybe
Okay. So yes, have an open mind. Okay. Look out for essential businesses that that you can do. Obviously, I expect people to be to. Of course, the market is already. I'm sure a lot of people are already doing it. But if you want to survive, explore being a seller on Shopee or Amazon. All these are not difficult. It's just taking that first step. They are selling essential things. And when we talk about essential, we're talking about food. We're talking about even what we call cheap branded stuff. There are some people who want to continue their lifestyle, but they want to buy cheap things. Okay, so cheap things that that make them feel good, good, like maybe buy a cheap iPhone cover, or buy something that makes their point, the essential stuff that people easily part with. And things like Shopee and things like Lazada and all this stuff, they actually because they have the volume, they have the scale, okay, they have the economy of scale, they are able to help you fulfill some of this thing with shipping of $1 something. I'm saying this, but for real estate, if you are still in the real estate industry, is that no money to make? I want to say that the market is going to move even faster soon. As the property prices starts to come down, and if that pace starts to increase, you will see the volume spike. But even right now, if I'm a real estate agent, if I go out there, I will be talking to many, 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 many people, and I'll say this to them: I want to help you. I want to help you do the right thing, and I'm going to help you find buyers for the properties that you don't need, and you may get stuck with nothing to sell it to somebody who needs. That's what I would do. And I will go into the market and I will say somebody who needs to buy a property and say, okay, if you die down, have to buy a brand new one, no choice. But if you need a property right now to stay for yourself, we get something that is realistic in terms of pricing. And then if I'm a seller, okay, I'm going to speak from an angle of a seller. If I'm a seller today, and if I look at it, I'll do a quick research, or I have a good agent who will do a quick research for me of the entire real estate market. And let's say if the fair market value is $1 million, okay, and then you have all these people advertising at 1.1, 1.2 million. I will advertise at 1 million or 1.08, and I will sell at 1 million, or I may even sell at 988,000 or something like that. And the price sensitive individual who is buying for their own use, your property will be the first one they see. Don't play games.
Okay. So so much about the.
I always tell sellers. Like, are you concerned about they want to hold out for high price, but in the end, when the market corrects 20%, by holding out for a few $1,000s, for a few $1,000s, for $10,000, they lose $200,000.
Okay. So, anything else you want to add on?
Sorry, I get upset when I talk about this real estate thing and people are doing funny things.
Okay. So maybe you I know that you currently just started this meat business. So you're also very into health. So maybe you want to tell us more about this meat business called Jabat. All right, Jabat, right?
Jabat.com.
Correct. Yeah. So maybe
it's been a very interesting journey, exciting journey, and I learned something new. And the truth here is, good times, bad times, lockdown, no lockdown, people need to eat. So that's why I got into this business, and partly because I did not, it was my passion to eat healthy. It was my passion to look for the right meat for myself. And so I took that particular passion and turned it into a business. So in the same token, some of you might have passion. You might have a passion for certain things, and you can turn that into a business, right? As long as that business it's relevant going forward. So don't create multiple sources of stream of income, be it passive income, be it now like I said, passive income is like right now I'm sitting here and I'm speaking to all of you. Somebody may go to my website and order some steaks. That's passive to me. I've done my part. Of course, occasionally I do a bit of marketing, but in general, this is what you mean. You create a business that somehow, like sometimes, at 12 midnight, I suddenly get a notice, that somebody ordered some steak. So it's 24/7. That's the beautiful thing about the internet business. So yes, I love the Jabat thing, and I that passion drove me to it, and I encourage others to look at multiple source stream of income. And if you are a real estate agent, it doesn't mean that you cannot continue to do your real estate thing, but you can for sure advise your clients what to buy and what to sell. Of course, most of the agency does not really encourage people to focus so much on the resale because the commission amount is small, right, to the agency. So follow the money, right? Most of the agency and obviously the agency bosses have to do what's right for the company. You have to do what's right for yourself.
Yeah, correct. So, okay. So, okay, before we going to end this conversation soon, I have this last question is not related to any real estate thing. So, the question is actually, what would you like to do if money is not the objective?
If money is not the objective, oh, okay. Now, right now, I would say
Yeah.
that I've done a bit of, I would say I've researched the market quite a bit. And I would say that I would definitely put, okay, let's say even if you're not a multi-millionaire, you earn 10,000 a month. You might want to put 10% in gold or silver, different assets. You might want to spread them around. Some of it in, I, I personally, I don't dabble in the stock market so much, but you might want to really spread that around in case one of those different currency or asset class goes haywire. Because personally, I can see that the market is heavily manipulated. It is so heavily manipulated that I cannot guarantee that would the Sing dollar be strong forever, would gold be weak forever or strong forever, or would the stock market, nobody can really put a finger to it. It really depends on how it all pans out, depending on the crazy action of different people in this world. So it's good to spread it a little bit out. And again, if money is not an issue, I still probably won't invest in. The word here is invest, okay? Real estate unless I find a lay long one at this moment. But I would wait till this financial reset happens, this global reset happens, right? And then consider, I would keep that money right now because there are a lot of opportunities coming. The biggest problem with most people is that their hands are itchy. They cannot keep their money. They have to buy, they have to put it somewhere. They have this idea that if it does nothing, it's true. That's why I said you spread it around across different asset classes, but at the same time, you have to stand by. I think having some Lelong real estate, if you manage to find some, is also good because real estate, as we all know, always have the intrinsic value. A lot of people like to quote one of the U.S. president, Franklin Roosevelt, if I'm not wrong, saying that uh, um, investing in real estate cannot go wrong. But actually, a lot of people ignore the part. Please go and Google it. He says when you invest in real estate, okay, real estate, and pay for it in full, that means you don't owe anything. Then, yes, it's a different asset class altogether. But if you are highly leveraged and the value of that drop by a lot, then now you're in trouble.
Correct. Yeah, lor. So so with that say, I think if you guys want to know more about Colin's Jiabat business, okay, you can actually call him or you can go to his website jiabat.com. Okay, so yeah, so
Thanks for that little
yeah.
advertisement. I wasn't expecting that.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, really thanks for your great sharing, Sifu. Yeah, and your
You're welcome. It's
time.
my
Yeah,
pleasure.
and your very real kind of conversation that I have. All right. So yeah. So with that said, thank you very much again for
Thank you,
everyone who's
everybody.
joining us, and hope you can gain some valuable insight. All right. So just to let you know, probably do help us to share the vibe as well. Hold on a second. Yeah, help us to share the vibe so that we can continue in bringing you more property online contents and trend, and also share with us your property story. So if you have any subjects that you're interested in, do let us know so that we can put it up, and you can send your this request to the chat group. I will post the link there. You can send to us so that we can connect and also get informed. So also do follow us on the Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. All right. So okay. So all right. So thanks again, everyone, and
See
I
you
really,
guys. Bye bye.
yeah, I hope you enjoy your Sunday. Yeah. So with that say, I see you on the next one. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.